In the Caucasus, there is a magnificent nation with a coastline on the Black Sea. It's where you can find history, warm and friendly people, beaches, unique dances and cuisines, all waiting to be explored. This country, located above Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan and below Russia, is called Georgia. Undoubtedly, they are one of the most outstanding representatives of the Caucasian nations. Georgia has a land area of approximately 70,000 square kilometers, hosting officially 4 million people. There are also 3 crucial autonomous republics within its borders. These are autonomous republics such as Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Adjara. For example, Adjara Autonomous Republic is located in the southwest of the country, with its capital, Batumi, known as the casino city of the Black Sea. Abkhazia is located northwest of the country, and South Ossetia, whose independence is not recognized, is located in the northern inland part of the country. The capital, Tbilisi, is located in the southern inland areas of the country. Today, Georgia is known globally as Georgia, while its name in Georgian, the country's language, is known as Sakartvelo. In the lands of the Caucasus stretching to the Black Sea, there have been so many interactions throughout history that it is said that Georgians originate from the ancient kingdoms of Iberia and Colchis that once ruled the region. While the Kingdom of Colchis mostly ruled the country's coastal areas, the Kingdom of Iberia controlled the inner regions, extending to the present-day territories of countries like Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. After ancient times, the people of these lands became the target of many different empires. For example, in the 7th century, this region witnessed the struggles of the Byzantines and the Arabs. In the post-15th century period, it was influenced by the Ottoman Empire and Tsarist Russia. The Russians managed to annex Georgia from the Ottomans. In the late 19th century, the country became a part of the Soviet Union. Finally, on April 9, 1991, Georgia achieved complete independence and took its present form. Even though they are independent today, they still face problems with their autonomous republics. Looking at the country's flag, we can see that it consists of red and white colors. There is a red cross dividing the white background into 4. Additionally, in each of the resulting quadrants, there are 4 crosses of the same color. It is said that the total of 5 crosses on the flag represents the 5 holy wounds, the 5 piercing wounds suffered by Jesus Christ during his crucifixion. The origins of the flag date back to the Middle Ages, when it was a banner of the kingdoms of Georgia. In the 20th and 21st centuries, when Georgians began their independence movements again, they turned these medieval flags with 5 crosses into a national symbol and popularized them for the modern world. Although they have been under the rule of different states for a long time, Georgians have managed to preserve their existence and culture without assimilation. For example, they have their alphabet and language. Frankly, if you are accustomed to the Latin alphabet, you may not have much clue when you see writings in Georgian alphabet around you in Georgia. The Georgian alphabet looks highly complex and many letters look alike. Some simple expressions in Georgian are as follows. For example, Gamma Joba means hello. If you say Madloba to someone you meet there, it means thank you. Again, Ara means no, while Diach means yes. Knowing Georgian or Russian is very important if you stay in Georgia for a while, especially in this country, where almost every word of elderly taxi drivers knows English. English may be sufficient in tourist places, but you must express your concerns in Georgian or Russian for official and social matters. But if you are going to Georgia briefly, they have thought of you on the streets. You will see that almost every sign, direction information or street name is written in Georgian and English. Therefore, even if you do not know how to use Google Maps, getting lost or going to the wrong places in the capital, Tbilisi, and throughout the country is tough. Especially after the Russia-Ukrainian war, Russia has become even more popular in the country. Because if you go to Tbilisi or Batumi in Georgia today, you can easily understand that almost 1 in every 2 people is Russian or Ukrainian. It's not difficult to distinguish Russians from Georgians in the country. Blonde and colorful-eyed people are most likely Russian or Ukrainian. Also, you can hear these people speaking Russian aloud when passing by them. The facial features of the Georgian people are pretty different from those of the Slavic people. Georgians have sharper cheeks, foreheads, jaws, and especially very pointed noses. Many of them have long and sturdy noses. Men in Batumi especially resemble the people of the Black Sea. Moreover, one of the societies that make up the ethnic structure of Georgians comes from the ancient kingdom of Lazica. Lazica means the land of the Laz and refers to an ethnic group stretching from the Black Sea region of Turkey to Georgia. As for the skin color of Georgians, they are fair-skinned or white-skinned. People's hair is primarily black and chestnut brown tones. Plenty of blonde Slavic people in the capital Tbilisi today are temporary residents, Russians and Ukrainians. There are so many Ukrainians in Tbilisi that they are currently organizing anti-Russian rallies around Liberty Square every night. Ukrainians not only organize rallies but also fill the walls of surrounding buildings with anti-Russia and anti-Putin slogans. Some visuals and texts are impossible not to attract attention. In almost every part of Tbilisi, the flags of Georgia, the European Union and Ukraine are waving together. The Georgian government allows these rallies under heavy police control. Suppose anti-Russian protests continue at this intensity in this country, strategically located just below Russia. In that case, it is unknown whether Russia will extend its hand here, but the thought is sad. Of course, one of the main reasons why Russians and Ukrainians prefer this country is that there are many cultural similarities. Because Georgians are people who have embraced the Orthodox faith of Christianity in this sense, immigrants seek cultural and religious ties in the countries they go to. According to statistics, it is said that Georgians make up about 87% of the permanent population in the country. Still, the presence of both autonomous nations and war victims has turned Tbilisi into a very multicultural structure. Before the influx of migration to Tbilisi, the population was 1 million, but now it is estimated to be close to 2 million, according to unofficial figures. Georgians are characteristically warm and friendly towards those who contribute value and bring foreign currency to their country. Some may describe them as racist due to internal issues. I cannot say that, but I can say that the locals are quite hospitable and lively for short-term visitors from abroad. People constantly smile and have a positive outlook on life. One of the best examples of their lively and upbeat nature is the fact that Georgian youth enliven busy streets and squares with their local dances. You may have seen the unique local dances of different nations worldwide. However, Caucasian dances, especially those highlighted by Georgians in the Caucasus region, are dances where the enjoyment and tempo are very high and dramatically mesmerize the viewers. Especially in Tbilisi, Georgian youth strongly embrace their dances and culture, proudly showcasing them to visitors to their country. This indirectly shows us that they are intensely patriotic towards their country and are also fun-loving individuals. Suppose you will stay in Tbilisi for more than one night and have almost no chance of encountering these dances on the street. Every evening, different people perform Caucasian dance and music shows simultaneously. While wandering in Tbilisi, you will come across many people who may have come from countries such as Bangladesh, India, and the Philippines. These people are probably tourists, but they are everywhere in every corner of Tbilisi. Some of these people are tourists, but nearly half of them come to Georgia to work. Of course, one must also remember this. Georgia is one of the cheapest countries you can go to worldwide. Even though their currencies are precious, the unit cost of your expenses there is low. They have a currency called the Georgian lari, and €1 is approximately 3 Georgian lari. There is no fixed minimum wage amount known in the country. People work for hourly wages. The average monthly income of a person in the country varies between 2,000 and 3,000 Georgian lari, which corresponds to around 800 to 900 euros. These monthly wages may seem low to you. However, the country's high purchasing power makes accessing food and various items easier. Moreover, since Georgia is also an agricultural country, many vegetables and fruits grow in the country, and people can consume them cheaply. Also, if you go to the capital, Tbilisi, you will see that almost everyone drives Mercedes German vehicles or Toyota, and Toyota's premium vehicle brand is Lexus. You can also see both left-hand and right-hand drive cars in traffic in the capital, because vehicles with both types of steering are allowed to be driven in traffic in the country. However, the number of vehicles with steering on the right is relatively low and generally seen in older models. Most new model cars have steering on the left. There is another situation regarding cars in Tbilisi that you may notice, that almost 1 out of every 10 cars in traffic does not have a bumper, my friends. At first you think it's a coincidence, but after a while when you start seeing it constantly, you think there must be a reason for this. Yes, indeed, they are missing and driving in traffic damage. Since bumpers are not cared about by the police in traffic, people can drive bumperless cars in traffic. The reason for this habit of driving bumperless cars, seen only in this country and the world according to some, is that it is expensive to install a new bumper, and according to some, there are not enough services related to bumper mechanics in the country. For example, installing a new bumper on a new Mercedes vehicle can be economically costly for a Georgian. Therefore, they consider it luxurious and do not install a new one. In other words, Georgians find installing a new bumper on a car unnecessary and costly. As a result, this country is not given much importance to car cosmetics. Regarding taxis in the country, it should be noted that they are not yellow but white. The taxi situation in Batumi is more complicated. We'll discuss it in the Batumi video. Another thing about taxis is that there are no taxi meters, my friends. Yes, they don't exist, so if you take a taxi in Tbilisi or Georgia, grab your phone, show the distance and name of your destination to the taxi driver, and get a price. Otherwise, you entrust yourself entirely to the taxi driver, and when you get out of the car, they have the right to charge you whatever price they want. However, on average, the fare from one point to another in the capital is 20 Georgian lari, approximately 6 euros. If you are going from the city center to the airport in Tbilisi, they ask for around 40 Georgian lari, which is about 15 euros. There are also some noticeable details on the streets in the capital. For example, there are many street dogs. The animals in the city are not aggressive, but statistically there are around 80,000 stray animals in the capital, Tbilisi. This may be a negative feature for Tbilisi for people who fear dogs. The fact that the capital is so total of street dogs requires you to walk looking at the ground rather than across the streets, because the probability of stepping on dog feces at any moment is relatively high. Furthermore, despite the country not being vast in area, events happening there are heard and known to everyone quickly. For example, if a murder occurs in Georgia, this becomes a topic of conversation for everyone, and everyone starts talking about the same issue. Another issue is that both taxi drivers in the city and drivers of private minibuses providing intercity transportation can smoke without caring about the customer. This situation indicates that people over a certain age in the country may be uneducated in terms of ethics and may have limited empathy skills. If you are thinking of traveling between Batumi and Tbilisi, definitely don't go by intercity minibuses. Travel by trains instead. Because these guys drive like crazy without knowing the traffic rules. They drive very fast and drive 3 cars on a 2-lane road. Also, the seats of the minibuses are usually terrible and dirty. On the other hand, people live pretty well in this country. Of course, they owe their economy and purchasing power to tourism and casino gambling establishments. Both Batumi and Tbilisi have many casinos, and these places make a significant contribution to the Georgian economy. At the entrances of the casinos in the capital, you are greeted by well-dressed attendants. Casinos in this country rival those in the Balkans and the USA, because Georgia is a country where acceptable taxes are applied. While you may pay up to 30% for the money you win at a casino in Texas, you will only pay between 10% and 15% tax in Georgia, attracting casino lovers to this country. This brings customers to Georgia and contributes to the economy. Similarly, the organization of tours for tourists at every point you step in Tbilisi and the influx of foreign currency into the country by the local people contribute to the economy. For example, there is a blue peace bridge over the Kura River, which divides the city and the capital. At both ends of this peace bridge, and on the bridge itself, local people try to sell you tours or expect donations by making music. Georgians have managed to make efficient use of not only the bridge, but also the river. They organize boat tours along the river where you can explore the city. They ask for about 25 Georgian lari per person for a half-hour tour. Georgians keep Tbilisi so lively that they carry out many activities for tourists in the city. For example, cable cars are organized along the opposite sides of the river. These cable cars are pretty cheap, costing only €1 per person. But if you're looking for something more magnificent, Georgians have also thought about that and offer you a completely different experience with hot air balloons over the city. However, these balloons are a bit expensive and ask for €20 per person. They probably tell different prices to everyone, but it seems very difficult for you to ride those balloons for less than €15. If you want to explore Tbilisi by land, this time they can take you around with double-decker city tour vehicles painted red. Or you can tour the capital with tourist cars in white color, with sides open to the outside, located in the old town square of the city. We have come to the end of our first video about Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia. We will publish our second video about the capital of this country in a few days. If you like the video, you can like it and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.